Hi guys, this is another writing task. It's from a B2 level student, and I'm going to take a look at what it says. It's called More Than Friends. It starts off by saying, I clearly remember when I first met Roche. I'm not sure, Roshi. We were hundreds of young men, yeah, and here we wouldn't use an because we've got a plural afterwards. We were hundreds of young men stuck in stuck in a room. We would probably not use the relative clause here because it would be a bit redundant, okay, to use the relative clause. We can just go straight into using a verb afterwards or an adjective or whatever. Hundreds of young men stuck in a room, locked into a room. We can be looking for other words here if you want. I'm doubtful about using the word, the adjective wide. Wide is normally for like long areas, but generally not for rooms. So I've made a comment about this. We'd use wide with, for example, a road or a street or a hallway, but with rooms, which are normally a square, rectangle, that sort of thing, we don't really go with wide or narrow as such. I mean, I suppose there are rooms that can be narrow, but wide is a bit strange, okay? So I'd probably move away from that, and I'd probably move away from that and do something else. Just a second. Let's just see what's going on here. There we go. There we go. And I'd go for something else. If you're wanting to imply that there's a lot of space, we'd go with spacious room. The context is a bit strange though. I get sort of the feeling like I really need an adjective which is more negative. So instead of spacious room, maybe a small room, yeah, a tight room, a tiny room, that sort of thing. Because afterwards you talk about little wardrobes. So it's kind of hard to imagine that the room is really big, but then the wardrobes are really little. Well, maybe. Dozens of little wardrobes and bunk beds. Okay, bunk beds, nice. We're talking literas here. So it's clearly like an army or soldier or military type setting, the one that we have. And next we're going with your continuing with the relative pronoun, which was going to be our home for 9 months. So this which is not working here because which, the relative pronoun which, is always going to refer to whatever has been mentioned just before. What have we mentioned just before? We have mentioned dozens of little wardrobes and bunk beds. So I'm guessing those are not going to be our home. What we are referring to that's going to be our home is actually the room that contains these wardrobes and bunk beds. So we need to make a bit of a change here. And I fixed it just simply by including in a place, yeah? In a place which was going to be our home for 9 months. You're talking about the military service, aren't you? Great. Okay, a very interesting story here. Well done. So, despite his bad-tempered mask, remember, despite is followed by a noun, an ing verb, so that is a verb in the form of a noun, or the fact that, and then a clause. Those are the three things that are followed by despite. And we only use the preposition of if we're using the structure in spite of. Yeah. So those are actually synonyms. They are parallel forms of saying the same thing. Despite is like saying in spite of. Okay, so don't put of after despite because it's already implied. Okay, despite, here we have the noun, his bad-tempered mask. We'd need a there we go. We'd need a hyphen here, bad-tempered mask. I just had no doubts that under the surface he hid an enormous heart, and we're going with conditional, we would become close friends. So I had no doubts that this was the case, that he hid past simple, and that we would become close friends. Something that would happen in the near future, but we're projecting in the past, just like in Spanish, que seríamos buenos amigos, nos haríamos buenos amigos. He had been a proud and sacrificed, I'm not sure what this is, but cool, okay, soldier for the last 3 years. So we don't need that. For the previous 3 years or for the last 3 years. Okay. And here we finish that one and we start a new sentence. On the contrary, he was not good at studying. Okay, so on the contrary, al contrario, we just go here with on the other hand, or we could say, however, yeah, he was not good at studying. Which is why we made a perfect tandem from the start or since the beginning. This would be more common to use from the start, okay? But you could, I suppose you could say since the beginning. Just this works better, okay? Now I'm using which because in non-identifying relative clauses, we cannot omit the relative pronoun and we cannot use that, okay? So non-identifying relative clauses, we can't do that, okay? I can pass on some notes to refresh your relative clauses if you like, but I won't go into more detail there because I don't want to make this video too long, okay? So I'm happy to pass on some specific notes if you want. Just you send me a message, let me know, okay? So here we go. And one of the reasons where we can see it's non-identifying, we've got that comma. This clause is, we're not using this clause to identify anybody, not a person, a thing, or a place. We are using it to add extra information, okay? So yeah, from the start, since the beginning. Okay, we were together 24 hours a day, yeah, and we can say, instead of 24 hours a day, we can also say 24/7. Geez, I'm not really going to be able to, there we go. There are too many forward slashes here in my life at the moment, but you get what I'm saying. 24 hours a day, or we can say 24/7. This is an expression, okay? Maybe more for speaking than for writing, but I just wanted to include it there to remind you. Living thousands of experiences, some funny and others in the plural, and others not. Some funny and others not. Okay. Oh, civil guards. Okay, I'm getting this. I'm getting this now. Sort of more focused on what we're doing. Mientras nos convertíamos en tal. Vale. Whereas is used for contrast. So we're only going to use whereas to refer to contrast, to say mientras que, ¿vale? En el sentido de algo distinto. I wanted to study science, whereas my sister wanted to study, I don't know, whatever, nursing or geography or teaching or whatever. Okay, so there we have a contrast, okay? Here we're not using contrast, so we can't use whereas. We could say during our training to become civil guards, and I think that would work better than using while, which is I think what you were getting at, because we probably wouldn't say while we became civil guards, but we'd probably go into while we trained to become, because the actual becoming of civil guards, I imagine there's like an official ceremony where you know you like get named as a civil guard, and so that's not that long. That would be quite short. So it makes more sense that it would go with during our training or while we trained, yeah, in order to become or to become something. Cool. 16 years have passed since then, and although we took different, and here we'd go with paths, yeah. This is a collocation, so we never say you take away. para decir tomar un camino. Yeah? We use way when we refer to camino as in the route that you take to get to a place. ¿Por qué lugar pasas? To reach something. But we don't actually use way in any other context. So here, tomamos distintos caminos. We took different paths. Yeah, would be what we would use. We never let the opportunity to meet. A bit. Okay, we never. I think we'll probably go with dismiss. Dismiss the opportunity to meet. You want to say to meet? It would be to meet each other, really, but we really don't need that. We could say to meet or to meet up or to see each other. Yeah. When we are not far away, and here we need a preposition from each other. Okay, so now this was a pretty challenging text because it was quite complex in nature in what the person was trying to do. Actually, there are a lot of things that work very well, and the sentences, I think, have been put together, they've been really well thought out in making them relatively long sentences and communicating something which is also, as I say, quite complex. So here I'm not surprised that a few problems have come up. I hope my comments have helped. I could definitely go and highlight things in green. There are lots of little things that work. From even using the word dozens. I don't know if I'd go with dozens and then hundreds. I'm guessing that there are people there without wardrobes and that just sucks. So I'd probably match those up with, lots of little wardrobes or cluttered with little wardrobes. Yeah, full of little wardrobes, that sort of thing. But there is quite a variety of vocab going on here, and that that shows there's been quite an effort behind writing this text. So okay, I'm going to leave it here for today. I think this has been this student's first writing task. I'm sure he can improve on this, and I'll keep helping. I'm seeing that it's an article. I think there are quite a few things that work well in this one. Although I think it would be good perhaps to maybe make some sort of general reflection on why friendships like these are important to people, like these types of experiences. Something, it could be kind of cheesy, puede ser un poco cursi even, but for articles this tends to work very well. So we could maybe have one last sentence in here having something just kind of describing friendship, a general comment about friendship. Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm going to say good night. I hope this revision helps, and I'll be in touch soon. Take care. Bye-bye.